In the follow-up to our previous lecture and terminologies in the code, we would like to emphasize the terminologies relevant to what is known as exit or egress, which is the chapter 10 of CBC, California Building Code. And it is the most important chapter. Means of egress. Means that you take the occupants of the building from point A inside the building to point B, which is outside of the building, in a public way and in a safe area. So you go from point A inside the building to point B outside in public way and away from the danger. In case of fire, earthquake, any of the catastrophic issues that might occur. So the means of egress means that you take the public from inside of the building to somewhere safe outside in the public way. For example, I have a building and here is the sidewalk, and this is the open area of the building. This might be 3 floors. So if I'm standing here in the 3rd floor, I can get to a stairway here, and the stairway can take me down through this and discharge me into an area which is safe and away from the building. So discharge is another term related to exiting. That means where people exit out of the building. That's the point of discharge. There are a variety of ways to exit through a building. You have what is known as a horizontal exit, which means basically you're on the ground level or on the 1st level, and you just from where you are walk to the door that leads you to an exit, open it, and you're out. So you don't have to go through any other thing. The other one is the vertical exit. Vertical exit is the stairs and ramps. Elevators are no means of exit, no elevator use, or escalator are considered to be means of exits. The reason that elevators are not used for a means of exit is that at the time of fire, elevators act like a chimney for the fireplace. It draws the fire in and the smoke in. So if you are inside the car on the elevator, you basically are going to get fried. And escalator, the same. Escalator, because of the fact that the size of the steps, the mechanical steps changes, and the whole thing relies on a mechanical system to move and not to the ability of the person. So if the electricity is gone, the person cannot move by escalator. And since it changes its height as it comes to an end or on the top, therefore, at the time of panic, people will not necessarily observe that, and it's a possibility that people can just trip. Also, the same can be said about people mover inside the airports. You know, you get on these people mover that they move very fast. Those are not means of exits because they depend on a power. And if the power is out because of some form of emergency, you cannot use them. So the main elements is stairs and ramps in the vertical exit and horizontal exit, which you can add corridors, aisles, etc. The other terminology that comes in, so discharge, let me backtrack for a second, was one. This is another one. The word public way. And the other thing that we need to talk about is what is known as enclosure. The stairs used for exit are 99% of the time enclosed within a shaft. The shaft is built with fire resistive construction. So in case of fire or any other emergency, when people go to exit from the upper levels through the stairs have to have an enclosure which protects it from the fire and smoke. So people, when they go into the stair, they're safe and they can be led into the area of the discharge and finally to the safe area. That's why most of the time in constructions you will see this all the time, that shaft enclosures, depending on the type of construction you have, are either 1 hour rated or 2 hour rated. And the rating can be achieved very easily if you have a metal stud or or wood stud. If this is your, let's say, wall, and these are your wood or metal studs, the metal stud symbol would be different like this. So this is your typical 2x4 or 2x6, and the metals would be like 358 or 4-inch or 5-inch, etc. If you add 1 layer of gypsum on either side, so 1 layer of chipboard type X on either side, then you have achieved a 1 hour assembly. That means you, of course, you have to make sure that all the joints are covered, taped, and there is no way that, there is any area holes or anything into this. You cannot make a hole into these walls because of the smoke that might get into them. So you need to keep them completely separated and isolated from the inside. The inside of them has to be completely isolated by these enclosures. If you add 2 layers of gypsum board 5/8 type X on either side, then you achieve the 2 hour assembly. And the doors to these stairs must maintain the appropriate rating for this. You have variety of doors that are rated based on tests, and for example, for a 1 hour shaft you need to use a 1 hour door or a 20-minute door as they call it, and for a 2 hour shaft you need to use a 1.5 hour and minimum and 2 hour typical. Most of the time you're using a 1.5 hour rated door, which is metal frame, and withstand the fire. And for the 1 hour you utilize the 1 hour metal door, and then the only thing that can have a wood on it, that's a 20-minute door, which is your solid core wood door. We'll continue this in the next segment.